When you now experience your Kundalini awakening in an already spiritual awakening process, right? You are at a stage where that you're already aware of spirit, you're already aware of what is happening. Now, with that awareness, you going through a Kundalini awakening, you will be able to receive instruction. You will not be so scared in allowing it to work through, right? Because it will have to keep rising and going through our chakras right up to the top, and then you'll have to do a microcosmic orbit to bring it back down and let it sit. That can take a lifetime or lifetimes for you to get through. It doesn't happen for everybody that it will go past your third eye. Before it gets to your third eye, once it's here, there is always a possibility of it going back down again to sleep. But when you've had the spiritual awakening, chances are that it won't, and you will complete the entire rising and it will stay in a particular way. Now, can Kundalini awakening happen without a spiritual awakening? Absolutely. In fact, you don't need to have any awareness or any spiritual practices or even any spiritual dimension or awareness of anything else, and can still experience a spontaneous awakening that just simply happens. And like I've said in part 1, that these awakenings are either a continuation of what you might have left off on another dimension of existence, or if you like, a previous birth, or it's related to what you have chosen to do in this lifetime and it is necessary. It can come through a near-death experience, from trauma, it can come from abuse, it can come from a lot of things, and again, a practice. And indeed, it can come from you being around somebody that has already experienced this, is self-realized, right? When you're around such people, they have the ability to pass that on to you, which is to initiate you, and that is called Shaktipat. The Shaktipat does not necessarily have to be passed down from a guru that is incarnate. It can happen from one that is disembodied, that is not physically here. And it can happen even when the one that has already experienced the Kundalini rising doesn't know, but unbeknownst to them, there are certain ways of passing this on, which I will cover in another segment, that this is passed on and it will cause various symptoms and things that are within us, which, friends, although we all really want to know, sometimes it's best not to know, because the more that we know about things that we have not ourselves experienced firsthand, the more our mind is going to try to imagine these things. And it is difficult sometimes even for the best of us to distinguish between what we are imagining, what we are hallucinating, and what is real. So what happens when you're now going through your spiritual awakening process and you're going through your Kundalini awakening process as well? The two going hand in hand will also produce a lot of physical symptoms. The very first thing that happens with any form of awakening is that your Panch Bhuta, your body, your 5 senses, your Panch Duta and Bhuta. So you're going to go through the cleansing of the 5 elements in you and the 5 various senses as well. So we're going through a total cleanse, a total detox. And this is where we start to experience a shift in what we eat, what we consume. This is when we might experience digestive disturbances. This is when sometimes we become sensitive as to who prepared the food for us as well. Yeah, we won't want to eat in a certain vessel. We may prefer to eat in vessels that are more natural, more organic, and a lot of these things start to change for us. The initial stage is a stage of purification, a stage of just letting go and releasing on the physical body. Then you have the release on the energetic bodies, the subtle, and eventually the causal body. And as this release is happening, physically our spaces will begin to change, our relationships begin to change, we let go. And as this is happening, we move away from relationships, we move away from even family sometimes. Our relationships will absolutely go through a overhaul and a rehashing. Everything absolutely changes for us. With all of this, there is also a certain madness that is happening. You may want to spend time on your own. You may need a lot more time than you did before to not only spend it on your own, but to listen. Alongside all this process, as you're going through it, innate wisdom will suddenly start to reveal itself. And that's when the lotus is beginning to open and show you herself. I am Maya. This is all my Maya. This is all my illusion that you have gone through. And eventually, Maya is going to lead you onto Shiva, the state of being Shiva, which is why the Sahasrara, the crown, is associated with Om, with Shiva. It's associated with the state of nothingness. On that, in another post. So the Kundalini is a marriage of the two. First, she created everything, and then she dissolves everything. And when the dissolution takes place of us, when the deconstruction takes place, we enter the great void. We experience that great shunya. We experience that great emptiness, right? And in that great emptiness, there are still other things that happen. As we go along, we suddenly start to experience different types of siddhis, different types of powers. Sometimes when we experience one or two of them, we feel all powerful. And this is where it's only Maya. She's still playing. And the spiritual process, the spiritual awakening helps us to keep Maya in check. Your bhakti, your devotion will help you keep Maya in check. And that means don't run away with all the perks of being in this position. Your spiritual awakening will help you keep on top of the humility that is required to keep spiritual ego in constant check. Please drop any comments if you have any questions about this. Lots of love. Please look after yourselves, and your best guide and your teacher right now, if this is what you're going through, is you. Trust your awakening. There's a reason why you've been chosen to do this.